Hello, everybody. Welcome to yet another episode of Disruption Talks, where we invite top experts to discuss digital acceleration, winning strategies, innovation, and scaling products. In this episode, we have the pleasure of hosting Ege Altunsu, product design lead, design manager at Klarna Consumer Cards. We'll have the opportunity to dive into the design areas of Klarna, one of the top fintech companies out there. Hi, Ege. How are you? Are you there with us?
Yes, hello. Thank you for inviting me.
Hi. Nice to meet you. How are you?
Nice to meet you as well. Very good. I'm currently in Berlin, and it's a bit cloudy, but it's very good.
Cool. So, Ege, let's start about short personal story about you. Past experience, current role at Klarna, scope, responsibilities. What are you doing there?
Yeah, definitely. I'm in Klarna at the moment. As I said, I'm based in Berlin, but I'm not originally from here. So I'm originally from Turkey. I grew up there and I studied until the university, and then I moved to in different countries. So I worked in Florence in Italy. Then I worked in Barcelona in Spain. Then I moved to Stockholm in Sweden, and then I moved to Stockholm, Sweden for Klarna actually, 3.5 years ago. And then from the Stockholm, I relocated to different office in Berlin, and currently I'm based in Berlin at the moment. And in Klarna, I'm product design lead and the manager. I say the both because it's we have a separate title. So the title is separate than what you do. So being a IC or manager can be independently you can become without becoming a lead.
Cool, interesting. So quite a diverse background and many experience around Europe. So what's the focus of your current team? What challenges are you facing currently? What are your most important KPI, for example?
Yeah, I'm working with the consumer-facing cards in Klarna, and as you might know, if you don't know, the Klarna is actually started as a payment provider in the originally from Sweden, and started I think in the 16 years ago, and currently Klarna is in more than 17 countries, and they have more than 90 million consumers active, like monthly active users, and then they have more than 250,000 merchants integrated.
Wow, that's a lot.
And we are quite a lot of people as well. So we are more than 4,000 people working in Klarna.
How many designers?
So we have a different type of design. In general, the design, what we call the competence, the design team is we passed the 100 currently.
Cool. And how many people you manage directly or lead directly?
So for this, I need to maybe explain a bit about the structure in the Klarna.
Yeah.
So we have I would say, a quite unique and quite good structure. And so it's in the similar to all the tech companies. We have something similar structure. It's like you might know as like squads and tribes. We have what we call the domains and the teams, and this is something more tailored to the more to the close to the motivation of the business in Klarna, and that is the domains are the big units that contains the teams, and teams is the ultimate units that get the job done in Klarna. And we have a bit more than 25 domains at the moment, and each domain have in average like 10-15 teams. Could be more, could be less. And we have designers, especially product designers. They are located into the teams, so we don't have a centralized teams. We have a quite decentralized. It's more distributed in between different teams. And I'm working in a domain. Is what is the team is called the support team on the domain. So we are supporting the whole domain and the teams inside of our domain, and which our domain name is the consumer card, which means we are focusing on the consumer facing card products. And in Klarna, is it's kind of in the hybrid in the between the banking world and the shopping. So it's the unique company that can combine these two big industries, and that is the very uniqueness of the Klarna. But also we are providing the payment services, the payment the methods to our merchants as well. So merchants can integrate the payment methods, same as like in the how you pay the PayPal in the checkout, and also we have the consumer products. And so if you don't have any Klarna payment methods in your favorite brand or website, that is the problem we are solving. So you can pay with Klarna anywhere you want with the special Klarna payment methods through the consumer cards. And our most popular product is the Klarna card. So you can pay with Klarna card anywhere you want.
Interesting. Thank you very much. I was sneaking to your profile, social profiles, and I landed in your personal website. And you claim that you are a lover of symbols, grids, and you like to simplify complexities. So you believe it's really important to simplify. So how does it translate this to your work at Klarna?
Isn't that what we do normally? We simplify the things to make it easy to understand. And if so, whatever we do, whatever solution we solve, if we cannot, if it's not understandable, and it means we are not successful. And if we cannot simplify the things, the complexities, it cannot be understandable. So it's in quite in a simple explanation to make it understandable and make it more effective. Of course, we need to simplify almost anything we do, actually, not only the design.
I agree. So what's the mission of the Klarna design team, the North Star? What are your values, principles?
We are quite we are quite attached to the Klarna, the business, the motivation as well. So we are in a unique structure. So Klarna design team also we had designers many years back then, but it was not that big, and so it's recently got bigger, especially after like 5 years ago, where the Klarna strategy, the vision changed into before it was a more merchant focus, and then become more consumer focused the strategy, and that strategy that brings the design need and also the awareness of the design. As you know, especially in the competitive environment on the consumer products, that the designers are playing the critical role in the middle of the products, and also in the middle with our customers as well. And then we rapidly started to hire many designers, and so the design team grew from 3 to 4 designers to today 100 designers in a very short time. And as the mission and what we do also grow and then changing as we change while we are growing. And in the end, what we can say about the culture, the design culture, is changing with the new people, which they are bringing new things to the culture, and it's just evolving each year. And it's in the end we are quite connected to Klarna, so we solve the problem on our customers to on the banking industry and then the shopping industry, and combining into how we can actually solve the new the way of how we use the money in the end.
It seems that there is a trend especially in the fintech industry. Everybody wants designers out there. What's happening in your opinion? Why is that? Why it looks like that since a couple of years, even banks or more traditional financial institution needs so many designers?
Yeah, that is an interesting topic as well, because like I think we are living in the golden age of any design discipline exists so far. And so design is like it's as a craft, as a craftsmanship, as a work exists more than 100 years. And but like it never been so much disruptive or effective on the decision making process of the companies. And this is the golden age, and the future we don't know. Maybe it will be even more effective. Maybe it will evolve something else, or maybe it will be less effective than today. But we can definitely say that in the moment, this time that we are living, actually the golden age of our discipline, specifically about the digital product design, none of the other disciplines reached the points that we reached today, and that is a very actually lucky in the moment, in the timeline that we live on at the moment. And even if you compare the digital product design with the other disciplines, even though digital product design is quite new and quite new discipline, the feedback we get in 1 week can be maybe achievable only with the traditional graphic design in 1 year of time. So that's environment just like make things up like just like learning curve in incredibly faster. So it's the discipline itself is changing and evolving and improving itself. It's in a super high speed together with the technology.
Looking at Klarna website and communication, you can feel also as a designer that is very design-oriented institution. I don't know, I have this vibe that a lot of designers' heads are there.
I would say it's not only the design, and it's also for the brand itself. So the people in Klarna, it's we are very lucky to actually work with many people are incredibly aware of the design, incredibly aware of the creative the creativeness in mind. So it's just like very lucky actually in the people in Klarna that we are working and quite open-minded people, especially when it comes to the taste, when it comes to the brand, when it comes to the design, and in because of this environment, normally maybe in the companies, we designers actually spend maybe half of our times to actually explain why design is important, and the other half to actually get the work done. But in Klarna, we can spend most of the time 100% and get the work done, and to not spend actually time on why design is so important, because everybody is quite aware on why design is important. So that's gives us more flexibility and speed in the end.
Cool. So the mission of your team seems very ambitious. You say, I read that you are not trying just to rise the bar, but you want to become a bar, so a reference point for the world, for the design community. How this pressure, this high ambitious mission translates into your day-to-day job?
Yeah, it also touched to the industry that we are working today, because the industry is coming from so behind. So especially in the banking industry, I'm talking. It's the traditional banks, and they are so clumsy, so slow, and so like over documenting and over processing and everything. That just like gives us the easiness. Like even like if we simplify the certain things, we can be quite disruptive in the industry. And being a disruptive means and also like the thing we are working on is money, right? Money is very important for many people, and that's why it's automatically gives the importance in our life, in everybody, in all of our customers' life. And that's why we can actually like it's in the business sustainable way, we can grow very fast. And with the related to that, with the awareness and the design, and coming with the strategy of the Klarna itself, that we are actually hiring the best designers we can find in all around the world, not only in the one location. And that's that industry and that awareness in Klarna automatically brings up in the responsibility on hiring the best designers, and also executing the best the design work we can do in Klarna.
Yeah, you said something that's true. Money is really important, but money is also very personal topic. How does the design team design for different needs, and it's sure to reach the needs of so many different users that have a completely different perception and way to spend their money or to control their money?
Exactly, and that is also very challenging on understanding our customers as well. And every country also has very different habits, very different traditions, and very different backgrounds on how they deal with the money. But in the end, all the humans are quite similar on how we solve how we tackle in our daily life. And yeah, some countries may be more advanced on the digitalization on the certain things, some might be more less, but like in the end, we kind of like can see the global global way of solving certain things, that people actually use the money in a similar way, that obviously that we all have a similar setup with the money, and because it touches everything, because it's our survival, and most of our lives depends on the money, on the continue. So it's a very interesting topic, and people are very protective as well, and that is another challenge. That's what we do in especially like in the testing environments. Even like a very simple usability testings is quite challenging, because we cannot test with the placeholder. We cannot test easily on the placeholder like text. We cannot just randomly write the amounts. Most of the people don't even know what is that amount is. That's why they don't understand. They want to see their own data, because even their money is kind of it's very personalized for them. Even their numbers is very personalized for them. If you show the different numbers, they might see a completely different the concept. So even the testings are very challenging actually.
Yeah, they can give a lot of false result if you don't use real parameters. I can imagine. As a team, as a company, you aim to have the world's smoothest shopping experience.
Yep.
And actually, this is your strongest selling point, right? But from other hand, you are growing really fast. You just told us that your design team, for example, scaled up in the last year 10 times. This means that there are a lot of challenges, new features, new flows, new operation, new way to work together. How do you manage to maintain a high level of quality in this fast-changing environment?
It is very challenging. I would say it's one of the most important the topics that we are tackling actually in this time of the year, and the quality is very important. And obviously, speed is great. We have the speed. We can definitely say. I can personally also say that I am working in a company, the fastest company I ever worked before, and it's also quite true for many people in Klarna as well. And speed is great, speed is good, but also speed is bad as well. So in the same time, we are compromising from the quality, and the quality is very important topic at the moment that we are tackling. And we are growing very high, but also in the same time, we are trying to keep the quality in the very high standards. And that is not easy, but like we are experimenting and trying new ways, and trying the best practices in the industry and in the design world as well, and to keep up to the bar in the high.
Sounds really challenging, and it reminds also to me some challenges that we have in our team at Netguru. What are the best practices that you use to maintain consistency across the whole portfolio of all Klarna products? So the design system, having the same bar of quality.
Yeah, and so we have 4 different groups that in design in Klarna that we are focusing on heavily. So one of them is design system, which is critical for all of us. Is in the end, it's a product inside of the Klarna that is actually many employees are using, many designers and product managers, engineers, even in the marketing managers, they are using the design system. And also we have another area like the merchants. We are handling the merchant side, the merchant portal, the merchant experience as the best. And also we have the payments, the more in deep dive into payments, which is different in every country and quite complicated, especially with many regulations. And in the end, we have the consumer area where we focus on direct-to-consumer products or more consumer-facing products like app, for example, we have. And this is the way of the working in Klarna. The organizational structure actually allow us to focus on the problem spaces and allow us to be responsible on these problem areas, on problem spaces in a much better. So it's the organization structure actually allow us to work, allow the teams to work in autonomously and more independently, and which means they can work and they can deliver stuff very fast. And also they are responsible on the quality as well. And this is our job also in design, that we are another thing that we are focusing in a lot. In the same time in the growth, same time delivering, but also in the quality as well, the quality assurance that we are checking. And in this is the reason also why we have a decentralized design team, why we have the product designers and researchers and the UX writers in dedicated to the problem spaces, that the problem areas that we are assigning in a certain teams. And they are not actually sitting together, they are sitting together with the engineers and the product managers and all the responsible people who are delivering the certain problem solutions. And the reason is that they are also responsible on the quality, and we are making sure that everything is in high quality as well.
It seems from what you say that the design team at Klarna has a strong influence on the roadmap of the product itself. You are kind of a big influencer in the strategy. But how your team of designers get full acknowledgement about limitation? For example, you mentioned regulations. That is a very hard topic from a design point of view. A lot of limitations, but also technical limitations and constraints.
Yeah, and I mean in the product design, so I will touch on the team as well. But in the product design, we can just simplify into 3 steps, right? Learning the complexity, learning the what we are actually tackling, and it means learning the regulation, learning the country, the specific needs, like culture, like the people, and then reducing, which is simplifying the complexity, and in the end, the craft. We are just crafting it as best as possible. And that allow us to just like in the beginning to learn everything, and we have many dedicated lawyers in the problem areas in Klarna that help us to understand what is happening in different countries and what is upcoming in the different countries, and which we have to learn. We have to know the regulation, we have to know the business, we have to know the monetization, and then we can solve that certain problems accordingly. And in the teams specific, that we don't in Klarna, we don't have a product owner, so the teams are owning the whole product, and the teams are the smallest unit in Klarna, and they are the responsible on what they are working on in the problem area, the problem space. So we don't assign the features or ownership directly to the team. We assign the problem space, and we don't give them on what they need to work. We just like allow them to focus on the problem space, and then in problem space they find the solutions, they find the how to, like, what they want to deliver and what is the end result, and how they can deliver that. It means they are controlling their own process as well, so they are quite independent and autonomously working in a problem area, in a problem space by them, by their own.
I'm reading some comments that we are receiving while we are live. I think that Valid Akdas is one of your colleagues, maybe, because it seems knowing what we are doing. It is asking, how can we offer more smoother experience when we want our user to buy via financing, for example, Klarna buy now, pay later, split it, etc.
So how can we offer smoother experience when we want
Yeah.
to buy financing? And that is I will say it's an interesting topic. Like, it's in so right now the industry is called buy now pay later, right? But what is buy now pay later in the end? So you borrow money. So we have there's a money, and so the money could be in your pocket, which means it could be on your money pool, and which could be the bank of your own bank, and you might not have a money, and then also you might have a money, but you just want to try out, or you just want to pay later in time, and then you borrow money from Klarna, right? That is what is happening. And we have a lot of industry jargons. We are calling it credit, we are calling it financing, we are calling in many different banking terms that we don't understand usually. But in the end, the things we are doing is just borrowing money from a source, another source, and that source is the Klarna. And then what we want to achieve, actually, what is the smoothest experience we can provide is clarity, the transparency, that it should be super clear on what you are borrowing and how can you pay back. And it should be super transparent, which is none of the banks are transparent, that they are earning so much money, that so much the hidden fees, so much hidden interest, they don't even notify. Even if they notify, they are trying to hide as much as possible. We do the opposite in Klarna, and we are making sure that the transparency, that this is the money you are paying back, and this is how you pay back, and this is what we use on borrowing money experience in overall in Klarna. I hope it's answered.
Yeah, so makes sense. So you name transparency and doing the right choice and not having hidden fees. This brings really to ethical point of view, ethical design matter. So how important is being ethical for Klarna, and how is important in your opinion in this industry nowadays to have an ethical designed product?
It is very important. So there are two different ethical principles, right? The one is the human ethical principles that we follow in design, obviously, like transparency, and like whatever they do in experience, we shouldn't intentionally hide in the information, or we shouldn't try to manipulate. I mean, everything we do, we manipulate. But we are trying to manipulate in a good way. We are trying to manipulate as much clear as possible. In the end, design is manipulative, and that's why it's very tricky, and that's why it is very open for other kind of the people to affect the design in a quite bad way, like hiding it in a non-ethical way. And in design that we are following, of course, the main principle, but this is also inside of our ourselves, that as a human, that we need to think, we need to empathize to other people. And in the financial ethical way, that is something else, and that is something is changing very fast in this in obviously that because of this the thing what we are working is because it's about the money, and because money is super important in people's life, and every country has so much rule on to not abuse the usage of this money, and that's why the system is very complex. That's why system has a lot of regulations, and the banking has banks have a lot of processes and security. It's for people's good. It's for actually for consumers to actually help them. But in the end, the system is so clumsy, so over complexity, and then in the end it's not really the benefits to consumer in the end experience, and that is something we are trying to solve that. And obviously with the new neobanks and the digitalization of the industry, that the new type of banks are borning, and the new type of shopping experience is borning, and that is changing the industry itself. And right now we are in the middle of this change process, and I don't know how this process will end up in which direction, but definitely we are in the beginning of the actually very long change process of more financial awareness as a human being, I would say.
And actually, this brings to another question that Rafael from Netguru is asking. How can product design educate people? How can we, the people behind products, make sure that our app design actually educates society on payments, for example, financial matter, and their consequence? For instance, educating BNPL users on how it actually works.
Well, education is a tough one. It's another topic. Like, how can we educate? Because education starts in a very young age, right? And so educating means is more about I would say creating the financial awareness, right? In that context, and creating a financial awareness, of course, is one of the results that we are aiming to achieve. But our main purpose also to make things clear, understandable, usable, and also emotional as much as possible for our customers. And in the end, all of these elements actually leads to the financial awareness. So we obviously we want that our customers to have a financial awareness, but this is not one of the goals. This is one of the consequences that when we actually just make things simple and accessible, and in the end people know more and more. And the reason why people don't have a financial awareness, why they don't have an education, is because of the complexity of the old companies and the regulations which means the country rules. And what we are trying to do, not to change this, and we are just trying to make it as clear as possible, to simplify as much as possible, and as transparent. And in the end, is as a result, we are giving the awareness of the financial.
Thank you. Really interesting, actually. Let's change a bit the angle. Let's be a bit more generic, talk about the industry. What are the most exciting design challenges ahead of this industry, in your opinion? What do you foresee in the near future or the far future?
For industrial specific, right? The design challenges.
Yes, design challenges for fintech and shopping experience.
And I would say that many people are actually thinking like, how can we simplify or how can we solve the problems that people's in mind? But like the industry changes so fast, and the people are learning very fast, that sometimes we forget that also like the size of the Klarna. We are in the end we have 90 million monthly active users, and with the size of the Klarna, that actually we can change how people shop or how people use money in a way. And we can affect that by just like creating a certain behaviors or certain solutions that we are trying. So it means that we can manipulate. We have so much like groups. We have so much bigger audience that we can manipulate through the other people and people in a circle. So that is a big responsibility, but same time that is one of the reasons why we really consider the ethical concerns in the beginning. And that is the big challenge in the same time. And that challenge is actually not only the simplifying, not only the solving the design problems. Also, we are thinking that that is a very important topic for our customers. That is not something like allowing them to just watch in a TV shows, or just not something that they do like once a month. That is, they are interacting with that medium, which is the money, in every day, in almost every hour. And that's why it gives us the more bigger responsibility, and then the solving and the learning all of the challenges, like regulations and like the changes and like the trends and what is happening with the money in the world, and also about the future as well.
Thank you. During the past 2 years, of course, every one of us has been affected by drastic changes in many aspects of our life. Pandemic brought some revolutions, some acceleration in digitalization, but e-commerce was already there, but he had a big boost. In your opinion, what are the most evident or hidden changes that the shopping experience had
Maybe
during?
I can give some insight knowledge about that.
Yes.
So I was monitoring very closely on when the pandemic started, and yes, in the beginning, everything stopped, nearly stopped, and the shopping really decreased. And suddenly, like including me, that I think like I kind of like believing that we have a quite collective mind, even though if we don't follow the social media or if we don't follow our friends, and collectively all around the world, we started to shop almost in the same time, almost in the same day even. And that is not something, nobody said like you can shop now, nobody said like everything is better now. It's just collectively in mind we started to we started to trust the cargo companies and the logistics, just like we can shop easier. And in a certain way, like in a week, that everything started like never before. Like we reached the numbers that we only seen during the Black Friday. and the category of the shopping was very interesting. In the beginning, most of the people actually shopped garden equipments or the home equipments only. And that was really funny. And we seen like sharp decrease on like jewelry, and also like we've seen like an incredibly increase on everything what you do in your home actually. And obviously that is not really shocking, the data. I think people also like thinking in the same thing, that they cannot really do anything what they in the luxury, or they cannot do anything they can do in outside. So that's why they focus on a lot in their own space around surroundings. But in the end, that was in the positive sides. They started to like they more like it's encouraged the people to more using on the online services and the online shopping, and more than before that we've seen. And that's in the end, like after the the intense period of the pandemic finished, people started to shop even more oftenly during from the internet directly. So the online shopping increased as a result a lot.
Are those changes there to stay, in your opinion? It's a
Yeah,
reversible
yeah,
process.
I think so. I mean, some of the behaviors, of course, we will go back to normal as normal as possible, but the things changes, and actually, it's not because, I mean, we don't expect the people to go back in the exactly as before that they were doing, because it's just like more convenient. So they just discovered something more convenient, more easier than before, and the pandemic just increased the speed of that knowledge. And they knew somehow, but they never maybe dare to use. Maybe they never dare to use even like online banking before. They never dare to use a certain type of equipment. Buying from online, maybe they were always going to the physical store for these equipments, but because of this convenience, like awareness of the convenience, people started to use more more on the internet and online. And it's unlikely, to be honest, to that we can expect that people to go back.
Thank you. Always regarding the pandemic, during our past events, Shelley Armstrong, head of design at Finastra, said that the shared experience of working from home and not being to have a social life and the blending of personal and professional lives has made design teams even more empathetic. Did you observe similar things happening with financial shopping products within your team?
Yeah, in the design perspective, we are trying hard to not this happen. So we have many rituals, we have many online hangouts, and we are trying to actually hang out as much as possible, to socialize as much as possible virtually. And of course, this is challenging. It's not same as in the same working in the same office, but in the advantage is that we already have a decentralized the design structure.
Yeah.
And the disadvantage is normally these product designers are located into teams, so it's very important for them to sit together with the engineers and the product managers into the same area. And the advantage, they can solve some problems by just talking each other, and the same problem can delay the certain things in like maybe days in virtual life. So that kind of like a quick interactions, that kind of like quick talkings, I would say it will be missing. But in the end, some people really like working remotely directly, and some people they really miss working in the offices. And I'm more in the favor on the missing part, that I really like the social interactions. I really like the people around me. So I really miss in the old days that where we were in the offices.
Yeah, especially when you have to meet users, go outside the building and talk with merchants or possible buyers and understand their need face to face, because it's never the same when you send a survey or have a video call or Zoom interview, right?
Exactly. That is another challenge.
Yeah, I feel you. Another question coming from the audience, Marlena Kinster this time. What kind of research do you do before entering a market? What would you say are the biggest factors influencing how a person sees or is willing to use BNPL? Age group, their income level, or something completely different?
Yeah. Obviously, we try to learn as much as possible from the market, from the people. In the end, we are solving problems. We are trying to we are creating utility for the people in these countries, and then we are trying to understand these people as much as possible, and that we have a dedicated the market researchers, and we have the user researchers that we are using many different methodologies to able to understand the markets if you don't know anything about that market. And some markets could be challenging, like US, and state by state they have a different laws and they have different behaviors on different states, and also it's quite big. But some smaller countries might be more easier. But like we use several methodologies, but we are trying to best, and which means that we are trying to guess the best. In the end, all of these research, all of these testings will just increase the percentage of the success, right? We cannot we can never sure about the 100 percentage that will work. We can only increase the possibility of that percentage, and we are trying to increase that percentage as much as possible in a different ways. And if you already have that market, if you have the data, it's even more easier with the data that we can check in the various type of the data to able to increase that percentage. But in the understanding the market also means understanding the people lives in there is quite important, and also the who will use and how they're gonna use it. And specifically on buy now pay later, it's a quite new market, and quite I will say it's quite trend at the moment. We don't know if it's gonna still exist in the future. That is something we don't know. It's a current disruption, and it might evolve into something else, maybe. And that is something we are observing very closely and reacting very fast as well in any changes in the industry. But to understand the people, to understand the market, obviously we follow the certain ways to able to get to know.
Cool, thank you. Another question from Bartosz Białek from Netguru. What are the key design KPI you at Klarna track at various stage of product life cycle? Can you do some example?
That is the same thing that I was trying to explain about organizational structure. Is our teams are very independent, they're very autonomous. So we want the results from them. And what are the results? Could be KPI, could be OKRs, could be on the effects on the market, could be just could be even just emotional results, or could be a sustainable results. And this is up to the team, up to the problem space that they are working on. And our teams are quite independent, so we don't have a design KPI. We have a team KPIs, and these teams are that focusing on these problem areas, the problem spaces, and that they define their own KPIs. And that is something. So we just give them the problem space, and then how to solve that problem space, and how to understand this problem is solved. To understand what is this area is about, also is up to the teams. And that's why we have a different KPIs in every different team and every different problem that we tackle.
Cool. Let's talk a bit more about other challenges that are out there in the fintech and shopping industry as well. Do you spot some area of improvements where this industry might be still failing or cater some customers' needs?
Which industry specifically?
Shopping and fintech experience. What Klarna is doing, basically, payment methods for merchants.
And I can clearly say that Klarna is innovating and disrupting the industry in a very unusual, maybe unexpected way. And I wouldn't say any failing part of the industry. It's obviously we are making things more eligible, but we are very careful on actually to not. So Klarna is not even interested on actually let the people to borrow large amount of money. So that is not something we want to be like in depth into Klarna for a very long time. And Klarna is not only about the borrowing money. So we really encourage our customers to use their own money in their bank account if they can. So we don't really encourage them to use to borrow money from Klarna if they are shopping on groceries. However, if they want to buy any large purchases, or like furniture or something else, of course, if they want, they can borrow money in a more sustainable, in more easy and more transparent way. And that is something we really encourage. That we don't really want them to focus on just like in the debt environment, and that is the challenging, like the other industry, the companies and all traditional banks are usually uh, manipulating this a lot. And because sometimes they're on the option that people can borrow money, sometimes because that is even on the way of paying certain things, it's just like sometimes even like monopoly. They are just trying to manipulate and earn so much money that ever possible from any of their customers. And sometimes we pay like in a year more than 500 euro, for example, to the banks. We are not even aware on paying this amount of money. And however, when we are paying the Netflix 10 euro every month, we are quite aware, right? It's kind of, it's always in our mind, but we are paying like 10 times more to the banks without even let them us to aware on what we are paying. So these kind of like inequalities, like this kind of like the behavior that we are trying to change in the industry. And I would say the industry is going in a good way. So people are getting more and more aware, which is one of our goals, and that is in the consequences of the industry, and not only the industry. The people's mind is evolving. The people's are starting to their behavior is starting to change, and the industry is reflecting on it. So we are trying to reflect and try to understand what is changing and what people are demanding, and then to give them what they need as fast as possible.
Do you think that the big fish there, the big players, the big financial institutions are learning something from product like Klarna, or is something still too far from their culture?
I hope so, and otherwise, people. I mean, it will be very logical that people will just not use, and if they don't change, and they cannot really. They cannot be sustainable in a business environment. I mean, people will stop using, and in the end, it will be end of this cycle. So I hope they can check.
For example, in Poland, we here where I live in Poland, the banks, almost all the banks have quite interesting digital product with services that are really similar to what most fintech unicorns, startups, or scale-ups are offering right now. What do you observe in Sweden or more mature market? Poland is a growing country, emerging, let's say. But what about Germany, Sweden? What have you been observing there? Are those digital products adapting?
Every country is very different actually, and because of the culture, people are very different. Like Germany is very tough one. I would say it's maybe the toughest in Europe, and Sweden is the like the awareness of the financial instruments is incredible level. So everybody knows the investment, everybody knows how to use money very well, and everything is digital already. And people don't even use the cash in Sweden. They always pay virtually on everything. And of course, it's a completely different environment. But in the Germany, it's also a very different environment where the cash actually is quite used. Even after pandemic, many people are still using the cash, but it's still the pandemic changed to certain things, certain behaviors. But still, the cash usage is very high, and the trust is on the people is very low. So the people don't trust almost anything, and they don't trust. Like even some of our researchers, we've seen like if you make things simple, they don't trust anymore. So they trust sometimes the complexity, and that is like different challenges that we are facing. But every market is different, every country is different.
Yeah. This is why I notice big difference. I also notice between Italy and Poland, where I live, and from where I come, that the market is very, very different. Let's change topic. Let's talk more about your experience as a lead designer. Some tips and tricks that you can share with other lead designers about how to improve the decision-making process when you design products that have, as we have been talking about, so many influence on the life of people and ethical concerns.
Yeah, and so it's. I mean, there are many things we can talk. I don't know what could be advice for in what level in a context, but as a just like the natural management, not only the design, I would say just like delegation is very important, and trusting people is very important, and just letting other people to know what is happening, and trusting them into drive the certain initiatives by themselves, and delegating as much as possible. It's quite a healthy way of managing.
And about teams, design teams, specifically within tech products and companies, what's the best way to keep designers creative and happy, in your opinion?
And I think designers, it really depends on person to person. Every person has a different personalities, but I really follow the way of understanding the person very well, and then letting like creating an environment that person can be very happy in that environment. And that is very critical for me, and also from the culture where I'm coming from, it's very important to create an empathy, to understanding the other type, not only the working in a structured way, but also to like letting the to other people maybe they give their opinion, and easily they share what they're thinking, and also to empathize in a safe environment. That is very important, and also everybody is quite different. So I personally prefer to create an environment where they can be happy, and in a different context. Some people like to be isolated. Some people like to be just working, not even much talking. And some people are the opposite. They really need interaction. They really need other designers' opinion. They really need to collaborate with other things, and it's fine. It's just different personalities and different the ways of working.
There is not a unique recipe, I guess.
Well.
Last question that I see from the audience, from Jakub Quick, one Netguru designer and recently team leader. If the teams are autonomous in Klarna, how do you tackle knowledge sharing between the teams?
That is a very good question, and that is very important as well. And because like if the teams are very autonomous, and if the domain structure works very well, but in a one problem area, and it means we create the natural silos.
Yes.
And to able to break these silos, to not able to create these silos, that we also work very hard to collaborate in different disciplines. So in design disciplines, we try to collaborate and share as much as knowledge as possible with the other designers from other domains. And it's the same thing that we trying to show what we are working on with the other product teams, or other marketing angle, or completely in different angle, that we are trying to share things as much as possible. That is very important. And also Klarna is quite transparent. I think it's something unique is in the Swedish culture. Things are very transparent as well. For example, in Klarna you can see all the information about every team in our internal websites, and you can see even the budget of every team, and you can see even everybody's calendars are open. Like you can see everybody's calendar, what type of meeting they are attending, what are they working on at the moment, and these things are very open in Klarna. And this information you can reach, like the level of information you can reach in Klarna is just crazy, and you just need to read, or you just need to look after the certain things, and these things allow us to actually be as open as possible. So we are not really like the secrecy is very like unsupported culture in Klarna. So everything is more open, and even about the future things that what we're gonna work on the next years is quite shared between not only the domains, also the cross domains, and this allow us to actually break or to not create the silos as much as possible, of course.
Any secret tradition that your design team has in Klarna? Some tradition or something that you do together to keep and then spirit and the knowledge sharing also high?
in like a ritual only between the
Yes,
design.
give us some trick that we can copy all audience there with the same team. Something cool that you never told to anyone.
I mean, I talk everything to everyone, so I'm quite open
So it's
as
not
well.
a secret.
I don't like secrets, and it's more about like
Something new.
maybe
Okay, something new that you never talked with
maybe
anyone.
just understanding the people, just like socializing. I think is very important. So I will say the people. So you are seeing the people you are working with more than your family, and
Yes.
of course it's very important to become a friend or as close as possible, and because you are spending your life with these people, and you are spending in this time of period of your life, and it's in this period you are spending actually more time than any of your loved ones, any of your family members, and that is a quite important time that you spend together, and that's why I think it's very important to get socialized, get to know each other, and of course to trust each other and
Yes.
socialize in oral.
Cool. Thank you again. I think this was all. We have 3 minutes left, but it's good because we are all busy and for sure we need a sip of water for the next meeting. Thank you very much. Really appreciate. And I invite everybody to the next Disruption Talk edition. See you soon.
Thank you so
Thanks
much,
again.
Toto. Thank you for
Bye.
the inviting. Bye bye.
Thank you very much.